We'll wait for some more children to join, but we'll begin. Let me introduce to you, and please say Jai Hind to him, Major Rakesh Kumar, Shaurya Chakra. बहुत बहुत स्वागत है आपका schools में. Thank you so much for joining us today. We are indeed honored to have you here with us today.
Thank you so much, ma'am. बहुत बहुत हार्दिक आभार आपका.
और ये छोटे छोटे बच्चे आपको सुनना चाहेंगे. मैं सारे बच्चों से पहले निवेदन करती हूँ. I request all of you to say Jai Hind.
जय हिंद.
जय हिंद सर.
जय हिंद बच्चों.
आपके जैसे वीरों को, हाँ, आपके जैसे वीर को सलाम हमारे सबकी तरफ से और बहुत स्वागत आपका सर. तो मैं जानना चाहूंगी कि हम बच्चों का क्या योगदान देखते हैं. हाउ डू वी इंस्पायर चिल्ड्रन कि वो देश और समाज के प्रोग्रेस में हाथ बटाएं. मेजर राकेश.
सबसे पहले I would like to express my humble gratitude to Skoolz, the entire team involved, to you ma'am, and all the children who were there in the discussions today. My heartfelt gratitude and thank you so much everybody. Jai Hind. जो आपने सवाल किया है बहुत ही अहम और बहुत ही महत्वपूर्ण सवाल है और मेरा ये मानना है कि अगर हम ये बोलें कि हमारा देश एक बहुत बड़ी बिल्डिंग है, बहुत बड़ा स्ट्रक्चर है. मैं एक प्रैक्टिकल एग्जांपल देना चाहूँगा. तो उस बिल्डिंग की जो फाउंडेशन है, उसकी जो नींव है, वो हमारे बच्चे हैं. क्योंकि और वो फाउंडेशन स्ट्रांग होना बहुत जरूरी है. अगर वो फाउंडेशन स्ट्रांग नहीं होगा तो वो बिल्डिंग यानी हमारा देश भी कमजोर होगा और अगर देश कमजोर होगा तो जाहिर सी बात है उसके हमें बड़े नुकसान होंगे. We will suffer a lot. We are going to have a lot of problems. So it's very, very critical for us. It is highly important for us that the foundation of our kids, our children, is very strong, very balanced, and it is very progressive. जब हम
Absolutely.
जब हम इस बात की तरफ नजर घुमाते हैं, then we must also understand that this is the responsibility of mainly for the kids, the responsibility of the institutes like schools, who's paving the way to select the teachers and the parents. अगर हम अपनी नींव स्ट्रॉन्ग रखेंगे तो जाहिर सी बात है कि जो बच्चे हैं वो अपनी जिम्मेवारी, अपनी रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटीज, छोटी छोटी चीजें जैसे अपने आसपास जो है बाकी बच्चों की मदद करना या जो है अगर कोई उनको स्कूल में दिख रहा है कि कोई बच्चा ठीक ढंग से बिहेव नहीं कर रहा है तो उसको करेक्ट कराना या टीचर्स को उनके बारे में इन्फॉर्म करना या अपने आसपास जहाँ भी हम रहते हैं, जहाँ से भी हम काम करते हैं, उसका आसपास सफाई रखना. तो ये छोटी छोटी चीजें हैं जिनसे जो है बच्चे इस बात की शुरुआत कर सकते हैं कि वो अपनी जिम्मेवारी, अपने कर्तव्य को और अपनी रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटीज को समझना शुरू करें. क्योंकि मैं ये मानता हूँ कि छोटी छोटी चीजें हैं जिनको हम मिस करते हैं और हम उसके बाद जो है बड़ी बड़ी गलतियां करते हैं. तो अगर हम सबसे पहले शुरुआत करेंगे छोटे से और छोटी चीजों को इम्प्रूव करेंगे, उनके ऊपर ध्यान देंगे, तो जाहिर सी बात है कि जो आगे हमारी जिम्मेवारियां आने वाले टाइम में आएंगी तो हम उनको भी सक्षम रूप से उनका हम पूरी तरह से जो है वो कर्तव्य पूरक उसको हम पूरा कर पाएंगे. तो ये छोटी छोटी चीजें हैं जिनके ऊपर आज बच्चे योगदान दे सकते हैं और जो है अपने सोसाइटी को और अपने देश को मजबूत कर सकते हैं, प्रोग्रेसिव बना.
Absolutely, Major Rakesh. I request you to also speak in English because some children are from Bengaluru. Also, you mentioned children can do small things to keep the environment clean, like do away with plastic. The government's present abhiyan is Surakshit Sagar, Swachh Sagar. So how do you keep your oceans clean? We'll talk to a few children also on their ideas. But if I would like to begin by asking you, sir, you joined the army at a very young age, and tell us about that. Why did you exactly join the army? Because a lot of these aspirants would be defense service aspirants also in the future. So how do they love their country? How do they go about treating culture for a more progressive India?
Great. So as far as my own journey is concerned, I'll talk about 30 things about that first. So, of course, I was inspired by a lot of freedom fighters, especially people who were who sacrificed their lives for the sake of
That's
our
what we want you
independence.
to talk about, these freedom fighters, so that the children
So,
learn something
how
from
you
today's class.
आज all the kids were there, they would have some of them would have gone through these lessons of about Chandrasekhar Azad, Bhagat Singh, and we see so many movies on social media, so many clips about them. So of course, as I when I was of their age, so uh, their stories and their narratives inspired me a lot, because I felt these people at that point of time, at such young age, they had the power and the ability to sacrifice themselves for the sake of the nation. And when uh, at my time, when I correlated both the timings and the situations, so that point of time, army was or the defense forces were one domain where one could think about that kind of a life, that kind of a evolving or a challenging life where one could really uh, do everything for the sake of the nation. I'm not saying that others don't do, but army even today, the opportunity to do for the sake of the nation in terms of defending the nation and its people is much higher than any other area of work. And army is not work; army is a way of life, as they say. So these were the factors which inspired me to get into the defense forces. And it was in the so after my college, in fact, in the last year of my college, I appeared for the combined defense services exam, and thereafter, uh, uh, you know, uh, after going through the entire screening and selection process, I got into the armed forces. And of course, as I narrated, that it's a very unique, different, and there's a saying which is called, live a life less ordinary. So this is a life which is less ordinary. It's a very unique and distinguished life, and I have experienced all that, and I'm very happy to say, and I'm very humbly I say that I've been a very proud soldier, and as they say, the soldier, once a soldier, always a soldier. So I'm a soldier for life, and I've had a very productive and very engaging, eventful army tenure in the Indian Army.
Absolutely. Major Rakesh, if they have to take a career related decision later, how do they kind of prepare for it now? And who are the freedom fighters, once again, who you would like to tell them about, who got us our independence?
Well, I'll tell you that for me, see, so many people fought for the independence. Their leaders like renowned leaders like Mahatma Gandhi, then the entire Nehru clan, then Lala Lajpat Rai, then Pal brothers. So, but personally, people who inspired me were people like, as I said, Chandrasekhar Azad, Bhagat Singh, then Bhukteswar Dutt, then Ram Prasad Bismil, then Mangal Pandey, then Lakshmi Bai from Jhansi. So I was inspired the people that who were directly into action. Who said, we have to, if we have to get the freedom, then we cannot be sitting and holding peaceful dharnas, but we have to go and snatch it. So probably my mindset and my personality aligned with. So those were the characters who really inspired me a lot. What was the second question you asked? A part of this question?
Which was how do they align for
Yeah.
defense services examinations from now only? How do they inculcate that love for the gender?
Yes. So what happens is that India is a beautiful country. India, if I have to give you example, that India is like a huge garden, which is uh, full of different kind of flowers and colors, and different kind of makeup of the garden. So we are, as we say, that we are a diverse nation, and there's a very famous saying is on this, and which is also very relevant to all of us, that strength lies in differences, not in similarities. So suppose if we go to a garden and you find the entire huge garden, acres of gardens, and just one kind of flowers in that, you will not be very enchanted. You will not be very happy about it. But when you see colorful gardens of varieties of flowers, so India is that garden, variety of flowers. Now, what happens is that when you are part of this garden and you are your entire grooming and your entire makeup is happening in this garden, you are bound to have some affinity towards this garden. So you want to have some affinity towards the country. Uh, because you understand it very well that everything which we get, be it our parents and be it our forefathers or surroundings, we all obtain everything from our motherland. India is the only country where we address our country as motherland, Matrbhumi, as we say. So we are the only nation which which have this sentiment of addressing our country as Matrbhumi. तो अगर आप देखेंगे हमारे, if you see our culture, if you see our past, our civilization, our history, then I'm very sure, and if you also see that how respectable life of the people in uniform is in our society, how well they are respected, how well they are regarded, people look up to them, and there are thousands of leadership stories coming out from the armed forces. So if you peep into all this and if you understand all this, then you'll surely fall in love with that kind of culture, with that kind of life, with that kind of team bonding spirit, you name it, and it is there. So I would urge you all to uh, kind of try to understand the nuances of it, and thereafter see if it is of your interest. Then there are ways and there are means open for all of you to come into defense forces. A lot of information is there on the media and internet, and there are, and by the way, there are lakhs and lakhs of youth who love to come into defense forces. I interact with thousands of students at so many institutes, schools, and they are aspiring to come into defense forces. But then of course coming into defense forces is unfortunately not all that easy, because they need certain qualities, they need certain behavioral traits and all those aspects. So one needs to be aware of it, one needs to be very very carefully understand and prepare for it. One word of caution which I want to give is that you should be in a position, with the help of your teachers, your mentors, your guides, you should be in a position to understand your passion and your love as far as your career is concerned. Because a wrong decision in terms of choosing a career at times really uh, really comes with a lot of problems. It creates a lot of problems. So that is one thing which I request all the children today here in that be very clear in terms of your passion, in terms of your love, and what is it in for your career which you want to choose in life. I hope that answers.
मेजर राकेश जी, आप ये बताएं कि जब आपको शौर्य चक्र मिला, आपको कैसा लगा? What was that feeling? Please share that feeling. Sir, please tell us how you felt when you got that. How did you get that? What was the ceremony? Everything, sir.
So these these are the Chakra series awards, as they called. So they are the top gallantry awards of our country, and every year these awards are announced on two national days, that is 26th August and 26th Jan and 15th August. And thereafter, an elaborate ceremony is held at Rashtrapati Bhavan, where all the senior ministers, prime minister, and entire cabinet, and the family members of the people who have earned this award, they are invited, and there is a illustrious ceremony which is held at the Rashtrapati Bhavan, followed by some interaction, and then of course there are 2-3 other events which follow this ceremony, and where the honorable president pips the person with the respective chakra medal the person has, the officer or the soldier has earned. And if unfortunately in many cases, most of the cases, if the soldier has fallen down or has passed away, and he's not there himself to earn the to get the medal. So his family members, they are invited and they take the medal on his behalf. So nothing can be more satisfying, I'll say, for a soul, and it is a very gratifying and a feeling of gratefulness and humility. For me, it was uh, more than all this. It was rather, I would say, even more than my wish coming true, because I was very. You would most of the kids would have either read or heard about late President Kalam. So, to be honest with you all, to me, the medal would come later, but this Shaurya Chakra was hung, or it was pipped on my chest by President Kalam. Uh, a person, a personality, regarded more than anybody else in our country, or rather the entire world. The kind of uh, stature President Kalam held internationally is something which is incomparable. So for me, I consider myself so much very lucky that this I earned this Shaurya Chakra from the hands of President Kalam, and briefly I had a little bit of interaction with him. So this is something which can happen only in dreams.
Can you tell us why you got this, Major Rakesh? That's very important. What did you do? What was that incident that kind of awarded you this? If
Well,
you share that with the children, it would be very, very inspiring.
Sure. So, what as we say that the prime responsibility of a soldier is to protect the country, defend the country, and defend the safety and security of its people. While doing so, we are required to undertake a lot of military operations, which some of you would have seen in movies also. There are a lot of movies which have been made on military operations. So we are required to undertake such military operations where you get into a armed conflict with the enemy, and thereafter, uh, depending on the conduct of the operations, the result, the outcome depends on the conduct of the operations. So I have had many such operations in my career in the armed forces. One such operation was wherein we were required to confront the a group of militants in the jungles, whom we were tracking for 3 nights, and who were being tracked for more than a year, but we could not locate it. But during this operation, we were trying to track them for 3 nights. After 3 nights of very careful and vigilant search and combat operation, we could surround them, and thereafter, we entered into a conflict with them, or an encounter, as they say in the common language, with them in the mid of the night, in the fourth night, and thereafter the operation went on for almost next 24 hours, entire night, during day, next night, and with very careful, well trained, vigilant, and tactful uh, tactics and field craft, we were able to, me and my team of around 10 people, 10 soldiers, we were able to eliminate this entire group of militants, which were threatening, and they had killed many innocent people in that area earlier. So we were able to eliminate them completely, and very successfully, without endangering or without having any harm to any of our team members. And it was one of the most successful military operations which was held that point of time, and it is still a case study in the army books even now. So that was the main operation for which I was recommended for Shaurya Chakra, and that's how I earned it.
Mr. Rakesh,
I hope.
when you go to these operations, जब आप ऐसे लोगों के साथ interact करते हैं, in the movies it's very, very different, like a hero kind of goes in and he takes his gun out. But in actual life, when you are, looking out for people for like 3 nights, as you just mentioned, it must be very, very straining and also very scary. Did you not feel that fear? Or how is it seen now from a point of view that it's done and over? It could have gone anyway. So what are your reactions on the same?
So, first of all, I mean, what you mentioned is very, very right. Movies are movies. Movies have a commercial value, and that's how they project it. In real terms, we all are human beings, and even being a soldier, when you are in this situation, of course, you feel deterred, you feel uh, probably threatened, and there are instances when you also feel scared. After all, you are a human, whether you are a soldier or whatever. But आप हार्ड मास के ही बने हो, उसी उसी वही आपकी चमड़ी, वो आपकी खून है. But what happens is that the mindset of a soldier, because of certain very important aspects, जिनको हम फौजी भाषा में अगर मैं बोलूं तो आप में से काफी लोगों ने पहले सुना होगा, हमारी एक हिस्ट्री रही है और हमारी जो इंडियन आर्मी की या इंडियन आर्म फोर्सेस की हिस्ट्री है, उनमें 3 शब्दों का इस्तेमाल होता है जिसको हम बोलते हैं नाम, नमक, निशान. और ये नाम,
Please say
नमक,
this
निशान.
again. Please say this again. The children will have to learn this.
Yeah,
Naam,
so I'm saying
Namak, Nishan.
3 शब्द हैं जिनसे जो एक सोल्जर का दिमाग है या सोल्जर की जो खून है या उसकी सोचने की जो शक्ति है, वो 3 शब्दों से चलती है. इसका प्रभाव बनते हैं. वो 3 वर्ड हैं नाम, नमक, निशान. और ये नाम, नमक, निशान जो है, ये भारतीय सेना में कई 100 वर्षों से चलते आ रहे हैं और ये आज भी चलते हैं. इसके बेसिस के ऊपर सोल्जर जो है अपने जितनी सिचुएशन उसको टफ मिलती है, उतने उस सिचुएशन में वो इस चीज को समझता है कि जो है ये 3 शब्द हैं जो उसके अंदर इतना बड़ा जज्बा या जुनून मैं कहूंगा वो भर देते हैं कि वो सोल्जर फिर मेंटली और फिजिकली किसी भी सिचुएशन को, चाहे वो डर रहा हो, चाहे उसके अंदर जो है थ्रेटन होने की भावना आ रही हो, पर वो फेस करने के लिए रेडी हो जाता है और वो करते हैं. आपने देखा है इसको हजारों बार. तो ये तो मतलब जो है कोई ऐसी बात नहीं है जो नई बात है जो मैं कर रहा हूँ. ये हमारा जो है हमारी सेना का हमारी हिस्ट्री है, ये हमारा इतिहास है कि जब जब हमारे देश के ऊपर जो है कोई इस टाइप की मुसीबत आई है दुश्मन की तरफ से, तो हमारी सेना ने भरपूर उसका जो है पूरी बहादुरी के साथ सामना किया है. सेना में एक बात और मैं आपसे कहना चाहूंगा कि हम मरने के बाद भी नहीं मरते. मेरे कहने का मतलब ये है कि हम लड़ते लड़ते वीर गति को प्राप्त कर सकते हैं, पर हमारे दिमाग में ये नहीं आता है कभी भी कि अरे दुश्मन गोलियां कर रहा है, अगर मैं मर गया तो क्या होगा, मेरे चोट लग गई तो क्या होगा. ये नहीं होता है. हमारे दिमाग में होता है कि हमारे सामने एक चैलेंज है, हमने उस चैलेंज को जो है एक्सेप्ट करना है और हमने दुश्मन को खत्म करना है, क्योंकि अगर हमने दुश्मन को खत्म नहीं किया तो दुश्मन फिर जो है हमारे देश और हमारे देशवासियों का नुकसान पहुंचा सकता है. सिर्फ हमारी जो फोकस होता है वो, जैसे बोलते हैं कि अर्जुन को जो चिड़िया की आंख दिखी थी, तो हमें भी चिड़िया की आंख दिखती है. हम उसी के ऊपर फोकस करके काम करते हैं और इसलिए हम जो है सक्सेस हासिल करते हैं.
Absolutely. Here, Major Kumar, there is also one more philosophy which the children must know, that every regiment in the Indian Army has a logo, has a motto, like you said, Naam, Nishan and Namak. इस तरह आपकी रेजिमेंट की क्या हिस्ट्री थी वो बताएं, and then we'll ask women their questions.
जैसा कि आपने बताया, तो भारतीय सेना में इतनी सारी रेजिमेंट्स हैं और मोटे मोटे देयर आर अराउंड 55 to 60 रेजिमेंट्स, और हर एक रेजिमेंट का एक मोटो है और एक वार क्राई है. हर रेजिमेंट का जो मोटो है वो अलग है, वो उनकी इतिहास के ऊपर जो है वो रखा गया है, और हर रेजिमेंट का अपना वार क्राई है जो कि उस रेजिमेंट के जो कंपोनेंट रहते हैं उसके बेसिस के ऊपर डिसाइड किया जाता है. तो मेरी रेजिमेंट का जो मोटो है वो है सर्वतो इज्जत इकबाल, मतलब हर जगह इज्जत और हर जगह सम्मान। हम जो है ये मान के चलते हैं कि हम चारों तरफ जो है वो इज्जत, सम्मान, डिग्निटी, इस चीज के ऊपर हम जोर देंगे और इस चीज को हम फैलाएंगे, जो कि हमारा कल्चर भी है। अगर आप देखें भारत का कल्चर भी है कि हम हमेशा जो है यूनिटी और इज्जत, डिग्निटी इनकी बात करते हैं। तो ये मेरी रेजिमेंट का मोटो है और ये मेरी पेरेंट रेजिमेंट का मोटो है। इसके अलावा मैंने और भी काफी रेजिमेंट में जो है काम किया है, तो हर एक का अपना अपना है और जो उनके इतिहास से संबंधित है, जो उनके लिए बहुत इम्पोर्टेंट।
Mr. Rakesh, tell us about women now. यहाँ काफी लड़कियां हैं हमारे साथ, women in the Air Force, in the Army. उनको किस तरह की सोच होनी चाहिए अभी से, अगर वो जाना चाहती है, कौन से सब्जेक्ट्स पे उनको ध्यान देना चाहिए? Many of them are messaging me that they were interested in the joining the forces in the Navy. What are the opportunities for them?
So I will start with the culture first. First of all, one is glad to see women in the armed forces. I was one of the most known proponent of it. I always supported it. Number one. Number two, even before the women started coming formally into the forces, uh, we were as men. The first part of our training used to be, we were called as GCs, gentleman cadet. Once you graduate from academy, you're called gentleman officer. So you are a gentleman first and an officer later. As a gentleman, the first thing which we'll see in the armed forces as a culture, as a history, is that we have always respected our women much, much on a very higher pedestal than anybody else. Similarly, even as a career, today the woman can join all the three services: Indian Army, Indian Air Force, uh, 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 Indian Navy, or even in the paramilitary forces. The avenues are open. There are avenues in almost all these segments now, in all the work domains, and I'm very happy and I'm very proud to say that the women who are there in the armed forces now are complementing their counterparts, the men, in a big way in terms of taking very challenging higher responsibilities. And recently, few years back, there was a woman officer who was awarded with Sena Medal gallantry, who had demonstrated her gallant while she was posted in Afghanistan. Some militants attacked Indian embassy, and she was one of the women officers who took charge of the entire situation, and for that she earned a very high gallantry award, gallantry medal. Similarly, in terms of be it technical, non-technical, basically I'm broadly dividing the entries into parts. So one is technical entry. So you go to Air Force, you can be a pilot. As you see, a lot of women are there as pilots now. You can be a ground instructor, you can be a ground engineer, you can go into medical services. The avenues in the forces are wide and open. You can be anything depending on your choice, your love, your passion, and what you want to choose as a career. You can choose any domain, and the avenues are available across the spectrum in the armed forces. And today, if you see, then women, the government has opened the entry for the women in NDA, National Defense Academy as well, which is such a welcome step. And the first batch probably would have gone and inducted, or they are in the process of getting, because the final merit list was out 2 months back, 2-3 months back, and the selection merit and everything was declared. So they will be getting trained in NDA and other institutes of the armed forces. They're already there. So it's a fantastic opportunity. It's a great opportunity. It's a unique opportunity. I must urge and request all the girl students today here in the talk that you must choose this as one of your priority as a career. And I am promising you as a soldier that you are going to enjoy it more than anything else, because it gives you a unique opportunity to really be at the forefront of serving your country. That's how I look at it.
Major Rakesh, what are the kind of things they need to understand for the selection purpose in the MCQ and in the psychology quiz that is asked? Because a lot of them here are from those impressionable classes where they need to understand what are the prospects. Is there permanent commission now being offered after CDS is my question. And what are the things they need to, understand as far as physical fitness, because it's a long training for women also, as well as
Yes.
for boys.
Yes. So first of all,
There are two ways, sir. If you can explain both the processes, one is through CDS, one is through OTA. I think OTA has a better chance for them if we talk of the army. And Air
correct.
Force, of course, logistics, education, law.
True. So logistics and administration and law is there in all the forces. In the arm, if you come to army, then OTA is the premier institute which started inducting women initially some 30 years back. And now, as I said, they are coming through the NDA route also. So they will go to all the training academies, that is, be it Indian Military Academy or be it Naval Academy, and or other channels. As of now, the scheme is that in the army, particularly, the tenure for a woman officer is 14 years, which is extendable. However, the government is in consideration of granting them permanent commission, which is being discussed very positively uh, in the country by the leaders of the country, the armed forces, or the governance. So it's a great career. Yes, as I said, I had cautioned you all in the initial that one should be very clear that what is it which is there as a passion in you as a career, because the selection process in the armed forces is a bit different than any other selection in the country. So what happens is that, as now you are coming, if you're coming the armed forces, you're coming as a leader, you're not coming as an employee. This is the basic difference which we need to understand. You are going in other services, whatever service you're going, you go there as an employee. There are set rules, there are set standards. You have to just learn that, and then you have to follow the modern path. In the armed forces, as a leader, because you will come across very uncertain situations at times, because of the work behavior, because of the challenges. So you are the selection process oriented toward that. So of course you have to be physically very robust, which is not difficult. And the idea of being physically robust is also that you should become mentally more robust, because it is the mental makeup which makes the whole difference more than the physical makeup. So the entire training is actually oriented towards making you mentally very strong. Physical training is I'll say it's 20% part of that. Otherwise, the major portion is making you mentally sound and mentally fit, because mentally you should not give up. So there is a basic screening test which is held by UPSC, basic the initial written test. You get through that, you get a call letter depending on the number of vacancies and the merit which you placed at, and you go through the selection process in the service selection boards. You can be called at any of the service selection boards by the
which are I think at Allahabad and
yeah. So Allahabad is there, then Bhopal is there, then Bangalore is there, then Goa is there. So there are some 6-7
centers,
6-7 locations where you can be called for service selection by the service selection board for your assessment. Now this assessment for SSB is very interesting. It's very intriguing, and it's really a lifetime experience. Even people who are not recommended they feel overwhelmed by undergoing this experience. And I don't want to name it, but there are a lot of famous personalities today in Bollywood, or in probably civil services, or as businesses, who had actually chosen this as a career. They went to SSB, but they were not recommended, because there are specific requirements for a person who is who's previewed being the future leader. So you are assessed. I will not say tested, because this is not a straight test. You are being assessed there by various set of people's instructors on various aspects. So these aspects is, one is that what is your ability to really grasp a particular situation. So first is grasp. How do you grasp it? Forget about handling a situation, because if you are able to grasp a situation correctly, then only you'll be able to handle it. I'm giving you certain examples. Okay, so they will assess you in terms of your grasping these situations. So there are going to be certain assessments which will situations will be popped up, it will be propped up, it will be given some time as to what do you understand by this situation, and after you, if you grasp this situation, then how do you respond to this situation. So that throws your entire uh, internal mindset and your thinking process open bare. It's open. They will see you through that, what is your ability in terms of grasping the situation, handling the situation. Similarly, there are assessments wherein you will be put through certain group discussions, group tasks, where your ability to collaborate and cohabit and operate with a team will be assessed. That how good you are there as a team member. Do you have the abilities to function as a team member in a proper way? Do you have the ability to lead a team? Do you understand that when 10 people sit across, then there are going to be divergent views? How do you believe, how do you convert that divergence into a unified factor or similarities? So this is very, very interesting.
Meanwhile, can you tell us what your definition of soldiering is all about, and why we are suffering from this, Western influence, even though our culture is one of the oldest civilizations of the world, Rakesh ji?
If I have to put it in a broad spectrum, then soldiering is basically understanding your responsibilities, and thereafter, I'm not talking about personal responsibilities, understanding your social and your responsibility towards your society, towards your nation, and then playing a part, whatever one can uh, do, uh, doing your bit to contributes towards those causes. There are hundreds of things. Uh, when you talk about a soldier as a uniformed one, of course, then the primary thing is to safeguard the nation and the people of the nation, even at the cost of one's life. Uh, which is a very, very humble and a very, very proud profession.
So I want to ask the children here, before I ask you about the Western influence, please tell our guests today, what is the national symbol that you associate with most? Any child, please raise your hands and tell us.
National flag has 3 colors.
Yes.
Saffron, white, green. Vijay Chakra.
Very good. And anyone wants to tell me now? Thank you, Pravi. Anyone wants to tell me what Jai Hind means to anyone? What would you like to say, Tanish? Come on the camera and speak, please.
That's it.
Anyone wants to say?
Can I ask one question?
Please, go ahead.
Sir,
Oh,
how you
lovely. Oh, he's waving the Tiranga. Wonderful, wonderful. Yes, please ask your question.
Sir, how you start your journey?
How I started my journey?
Yes, sir.
These are small children.
So how I started my journey for my education or what?
Sir, for becoming army. For joining.
Okay, for joining the army. So as I was talking earlier also, that I was personally I was inspired from the freedom fighters who fought for our country, for our independence, because of whom today we are free. That inspired me a lot. The profession as such is a very noble profession, as I said. It is one of the most humble profession. That is the second reason. And the third reason is that as a soldier, uh, the contribution which you can make for your own nation and society is incomparable. And of course, then when it was clear that I want to be soldier, then I gathered knowledge about the entire selection system, the tests, the assessments, and then I prepared it for it very, very carefully, very diligently, and very seriously. And thereafter, of course, as per the process, I was recommended by the service selection board, and then I was a soldier after the training.
Okay.
Anything else you want to ask?
Yes. When you are the child, what's your aim to become?
Why
As I
was your
said,
aim to become army officer? And when was that aim taken by you? In which class?
so this was the seed was born very early. I'll say, when we started reading about our struggle for independence, and then when we read about the entire saga of bravery of all these freedom fighters. As a small student, I'll say, when I was in sixth, seventh, or your age, that time itself, I was conscious about the fact that I want to do something similar. As I continued growing up, I went to my higher education. Then thereafter, I went to my degree, college level, and all that. So this feeling, this sentiment, this passion continued growing, and I was very sure that if I have one choice to choose as a career, it is going to be the Indian Army, and I was very focused about.
And here, if anyone else wants to ask any question, please do that. Otherwise, I'll ask you all to say Jai Hind very loudly now as we are about to end. Please say Jai Hind, everybody together.
Jai
I said
Hind.
everyone should say Jai Hind.
Jai Hind.
Jai Hind.
And ये
Great,
आजादी
thank you
का
so very much.
महा उत्सव है. Yes, India at 75 आजादी का अमृत महोत्सव, and we are celebrating the Jai Hind series and the fish tank series together at Skoolz, which is an EdTech startup recognized by the Government of India. On behalf of the CEO of Skoolz, Mr. Srinivas, I'd like to thank all of you for joining us, and I'd like to thank especially Major Rakesh Kumar for honoring us and sparing your valuable time and sharing your insights about the Indian Army, inspiring the children also, to join the forces and to add to their nation's glory. On that note, many thanks for watching. Again, from our CEO, Mr. Srinivas, I thank all of you. I thank the parents. Please be with us on the 14th and 15th of August on our Jai Hind series. On that note, many thanks for watching. Namaskar.